I'm Jason UFC, and today we have a story about UFC welterweight contender Belal Muhammad vents his frustration after UFC President Dana White announces Colby Covington will be the next challenger to face Leon Edwards for the welterweight championship. Belal Muhammad is not happy that UFC President Dana White says he is leaning towards Leon Edwards defending his welterweight title versus Colby Covington next. Colby Covington was in attendance in London at the O2 Arena for UFC 286, where Edwards successfully defended his title versus Kamal Usman in their third fight. Edwards won the fight via a majority decision. After the fight, at the post press conference, Dana White said Colby Covington is next in line for a title shot in the 170-pound welterweight division. This is what Belal Muhammad caught wind of the news, obviously. He took to his Twitter account to make it clear he was not happy at all. He says, B is afraid to fight and gets rewarded. I guess he's referring to Colby Covington. I'm assuming that's what he's saying, obviously, yeah. And then he also quoted a reporter who says Dana White committed to Colby Covington getting the next title shot no matter what happens when Gilbert Burns faces Jorge Masvidal. And that's what Dana White says. And then Belal Muhammad quoted it, and then he makes another quote. I guess he's saying that this is what Dana White always says, that I never make fights after a fight. And then he says, LOL. I'm going to have to come back to that quote. He also says another quote from Belal Muhammad on his Twitter page saying, I guess the UFC was saying to Colby, if you drop the charges against Jorge Masvidal, we'll give you the title shot. Okay, we have to come back to that quote also. Earlier this month, Belal Muhammad's manager, Ali Abdel Abzi, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, shared that he felt Colby Covington was ducking Belal Muhammad amid rumors that there was once talks of having Belal Muhammad and Colby Covington coach a season of The Ultimate Fighter. White responded to those rumors during the 286 post-press conference. What's hilarious is, there's all this talk about The Ultimate Fighter and people coaching. Obviously, when we're thinking about who's going to coach a season, whatever, there are multiple calls that are made to different people to see who's interested. Is there interest in this and that? So we reach out to a lot of different people and talk to people about that, and then we make our final decision. Edwards also shares that he doesn't believe Colby Covington should get the Edwards, the current UFC welterweight champion. Leon Edwards says he doesn't believe Colby Covington should be next in line. He told reporters during UFC 286 post-fight press conference that there's other fighters who are more deserving of the opportunity, and he even said a fight with Jorge Masvidal makes more sense since there's a storyline. Okay, so I'm going to have to go with that quote first. I'm going to say very easily that last statement, I can't say it doesn't make sense, but ironically, in many ways, it doesn't make sense. I'm just going to stay on this very quickly. Jorge Masvidal lost his last fight to Colby Covington, so I'm just going to move on from that. We all know there's a three-piece in a soda. Jorge Masvidal and Leon Edwards got into an altercation in 2019, 4 years ago. And, obviously they've had beef. They never fought. Leon Edwards is a champion. Just because you have beef with someone doesn't mean they deserve a title shot. So, and especially if the person they lost to last is someone you're not, you feel like Jorge Masvidal deserves more of a title shot than Colby Covington, even though Colby Covington just defeated Jorge Masvidal. So we're just going to move on from that quote because we obviously know why that's happening there. We don't really have to talk about the manager thing. That doesn't get anything there. Okay, we're going to go here to this quote. Belal Muhammad quote saying the UFC told Colby, hey, Colby, if you drop the charges against Masvidal, we'll give you the title shot. Now, I'm an MMA casual, respectfully, so I don't know if he's just trolling right now, or if Colby really did drop the charges. So I can't confirm or deny that. I thought there was a hearing recently that may have been pushed back. I don't know if the charges were dropped. So I don't know if he's just trolling, which would be funny. But I haven't heard anything about the charges against Masvidal being dropped. I haven't heard anything about that. And then there was another quote that Belal Muhammad was kind of attributing to Dana White, saying that, when Dana White is in these post-fight press conferences, he doesn't necessarily love when reporters say, hey, I know this fight just ended 5 seconds ago. Who's fighting next? And he's like, well, we don't really make these fights on, after the press conference. We normally wait until Tuesday, get into the war room and make the fights then. And then Belal Muhammad is making fun of that, saying, I never make fights after a fight, saying, hey, you just made Colby versus Leon Edwards. But I mean, there's a little bit more to that. Obviously, if the number one contender is in attendance, for the most part, the fight is not necessarily made. I don't think the fight between Colby Covington and Leon Edwards has been made yet. I think they're just throwing it out there that that's the fight that they want next. There's no specific date or anything like that. We have to see where Leon Edwards. I saw Leon Edwards was limping out of the fight with Kamal Usman. So I don't think Leon Edwards is gonna fight in July. That's like what, 3-4 months from now. I really doubt that. I mean, I would be surprised if he does, but I would expect Leon Edwards to come back maybe August, September, maybe November at the latest for the New York show. So we'll see when that fight is actually made. But let me know your opinion of this fight. Another thing that Belal Muhammad was saying about, why he wasn't so happy is because Colby Covington showed up. He was the backup fighter for UFC 286. And Belal Muhammad was saying that he, quote unquote, was offered a fight versus Colby Covington, and Colby Covington chose to be the backup fighter. So I can understand why Belal Muhammad would be like, I wanted to fight Colby, and, now all he had to do is come to the, UFC 286 weigh in, and now he's the number one contenders, so I can understand why Belal Muhammad isn't, the happiest person in the world after the results of 286. But let me know your opinion of this story. Do you totally agree with UFC making Colby Covington versus Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards next for the welterweight championship, or do you think they should have made Colby Covington versus Belal, or maybe should have made Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards? I'm Jason, UFC, and today we had a story about UFC welterweight contender on a 9-fight winning streak. Belal Muhammad vents his frustration after UFC President Dana White announces Colby Covington will be the next fight versus Leon Edwards for the undisputed welterweight championship. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.